After the unexpected success of the first Devil May Cry, Capcom realized that they had a hit on their hands, to the point they had a sequel greenlit without Kamiya having a clue about it, getting an unnamed director to work on it to later have Itsuno fix what was left of it, resulting in the infamous Devil May Cry 2. Hello, it's the Devil Joe, back again with a brand new video, and today I'll be covering the critically acclaimed Devil May Cry 2.
Yeah, this game fucking sucks.
Huh? Okay, maybe it's the fan favorite Devil May Cry 2.
A game so bad that it's disowned by the DMC community. Everyone wants to forget this thing ever existed.
Alright, you got me there. Other than the DMC reboot, Devil May Cry 2 is the one entry the entire fandom loves to shit on with a passion. The too easy difficulty along with the overpowered guns, lame plot, and what many people consider a huge character assassination of Dante other than the reboot. So I'll be looking at 5 things it did right and 5 things it did wrong. Without further ado, let's get this party started. On to the 5 things it got right. Yep, DMC2 has some redeeming qualities. First thing it got right is the on-the-fly weapon switching. In the first game, if you wanted to switch weapons around, you had to hit up the menus, or wait for a long-winded animation of Dante switching melee weapons. Now in DMC2, all what you need to do to switch firearms around is just a simple push of the L2 button to use a different gun without having to pause the game. Now, it's only the guns, but a small feature like that keeps the moment-to-moment gameplay flowing at a much better pace. That will later on lead to fast-paced on-the-fly weapon switching for both Devil and firearms. We all know how much of a win that turned out to be for the rest of the series moving forward. We ended up getting better combos because of it. Second thing they got right is the introduction of extra tricks. In DMC1, Ebony and Ivory were only able to shoot straight. No way to shoot in 2 different directions. And most melee combos were strictly tied to the ground. No way to swipe the sword when airborne. In DMC2, you can now shoot in 2 different directions, gun kata style. Using 2 sometime, that comes out whenever it feels like it. Hell, the shotgun has the nunchuck trick fireworks. You can now hit people while airborne. It ain't as good as Swordmaster, but it's what got a Swordmaster in later Devil May Cry games. Check this out, Dante can run up the walls and flip off of them, adding a bit more flair to the combos that DMC2 doesn't tell you about. Watch this, edgelord coin flipping man can dodge enemies by handless cartwheels, backdives to backflip, looking a bit more flashy while dodging demonic attacks, acting as the template for Dante styles later on in the games. An ultimate win for this franchise if you ask me. Third thing they got right are the plot concepts. DMC2 has a couple of good ideas on paper. For one, we got Lucia, a character who thought she was a part of the Vita Morley clan, later finding out to be a defected minion of Arius, giving her an identity crisis that does have potential to get us a compelling new character. Then we have Balvrig, the dude who ended up losing to Sparta, coming after Dante for revenge against the Dark Knight. That could have led to some intense scenarios in the game. Then we have the whole idea of Dante carrying out Sparta's legacy. Would have been nice if these ideas were explored, but the shitshow known as DMC2's development left a lot of holes in the plot. If a Devil May Cry 2 remake is gonna be made, it would be nice if these concepts were fleshed out. Fourth thing they got right is having multiple playable characters. DMC2 is the first game in the series to have you play as other characters who aren't Dante that play differently to him. Starting off with Lucia, who moves a lot quicker than he does, using knives instead of firearms. Going for twin blades over the claymore, providing different moves and playstyles to mess around with. Trish 2 is playable, she has the same exact moveset as DMC1 Dante. 4 of them truly missed pause combos, a concept taken from DMC2 and improved greatly in later games. The fifth thing they got right is that Devil Trigger. First off, them designs are nothing short of a banger with them Tekken looking aesthetics. Hell, you can pick and choose which abilities you want to give the demon forms through the amulet system. Want to give it fire powers or ice abilities, electrical strikes, switch the gems around. Want to get it to fly or move faster, shuffle them gems. And let's not forget that Majin DT coming from desperation whenever Dante is low on health, turning into his ultimate form before Sin DT in 5. Coming in with its own moveset that I had to look up a damn wiki to figure out how to use these moves. The problem is to turn it on, you gotta make sure that you're low on health. Getting your ass kicked as a reliable strategy, going against the whole point of Devil May Cry, kicking ass and looking good while doing it. On the other hand, getting your teeth kicked in, well, that ain't a good look if I'm being honest. Good thing that DMC5 made SDT activation happen at will without health regeneration. Now that we got the redeeming qualities out of the way, we get to the 5 sins committed by Devil May Cry 2. First thing they got brutally wrong wrong are the overpowered firearms. In the first game, the firearms weren't the most overpowered weapon. In fact, Ebony and Ivory, the most players in DMC1, were kinda weak. Nothing more than a combo extender. Not to mention the more overpowered firearms not being enough to kill off bosses on their own, without getting a sword or DT powers involved. What did Capcom decide to do? Overpower them firearms. Ebony and Ivory can easily tear away most encounters to shreds, melting health bars, juggling demons on their own, bruv. I didn't use high time, I mean shit's ridiculous, fam. The Coyote shotgun can deal a ridiculous amount of damage to anything that breathes. If you ever thought that Ebony and Ivory kills off demons at a snail's pace, I present to you the dual Uzis, melting off large chunks of enemy and boss health bars. Devil Trigger machine gun hands come into play to finish the job. And oh lord, once you get a hold of the rocket launcher, then the square button becomes the one button that'll get rid of most encounters for you, encouraging you to stay at a distance and keep shooting them till they're dead. Second thing this game got wrong is the weak AI. Most of the time, the demons in DMC2 can be brain dead, especially on normal mode, as they just sit around staring at Dante's wiener or Lucia's ass cheeks, while getting shot to death, removing any sense of urgency from the battles, making you want to fall asleep, especially in the earlier missions. Sure, AI spikes exist in this game, but it's kinda minimal, only reserved to a select few bosses and encounters that can be dealt with using DT. To add insult to injury, most of the DMC2 bosses suffer from the dead AI syndrome, of going for the same attack pattern while you stand back and shoot. Not to mention enemy types like the infested tanks that can be flattened by staying underneath them, tapping the square button until they blow up. Now that I mentioned bosses, let's get to the other thing DMC2 shat the bed with. That being, most of the bosses are lame to fight. In the first game, one of the main attractions were the boss fights. From how them boss characters interact with Dante, giving us some memorable ass banter scenes. Hell, one death scene managed to flesh out the wacky woohoo pizza man, showing us his honor-bound qualities. The bosses themselves were a ton of fun to fight, forcing you to stay on your toes. I mean, you had to change up your strategy to keep up with them after all. This game, on the other hand, well, most of them demons don't have much of a personality at all. They only appear without saying a word to Dante. He doesn't even say anything back to him for the sake of making fun of their goofy-ass appearance. Except for Aureus and the Trisigma, trust me, if a DMC Corno was made, it would have had better one-liners than this. Except for the here's your crown bit, that was fucking cool, man. And again, some of these fights are stand back, dodge, and fire away. The biggest offenders of this are the infested chopper, Harambe Cannon Boy, the Kraken, Argisax the Chaos. That's the boss before the final boss. Looks fun, don't it? The strategy here is to stand back, mash the square button, and dodge. When it comes to Argisax, find a safe spot to shoot when the attacks don't do shit. Remember when I mentioned them AI spikes? Allow me to introduce you over to the Trisigma, aka floating three-headed fuckface. The strat for this guy is as follows: be sure to figure out which head is vulnerable to damage, keep shooting or melee attacking the weak head. Sounds simple enough, but the AI spike makes the whole thing frustrating as hell. The ice dude throws pillars to throw you off. The flame dude throws flames at you, along with flaming projectiles that seem to hit every time. Then Electrical Trollface hits you up with an AoE that wipes a huge chunk of health away from Dante. When you drain the health bar using Majin form, it doesn't die, like at all. I thought the HD collection port was broken or something. Use the dual Uzi and melee the head using air round trip. When it's close by and he's dead. On the flip side, DMC2 has 3 fun bosses to fight. Baldrick, this game's Nilo Angelo, who provides a pretty fun and engaging challenge, testing your overall reflexes. He's no Nilo Angelo, but he's pretty fun and fair to go up against. Same goes for the Despair Embodied. The demon from the side of the building has a fun second phase, testing your dodging prowess. DMC2 comes with the weakest boss lineup in the whole series in my book. The fourth thing this title got wrong is the poor plot execution. I know that DMC1's plot was a very basic revenge story, having said that it was a very entertaining one to watch unfold, due to Dante's wisecracking antics along with how everything reacted to him. Not to forget Dante's own reactions to Malay Castle. Enter Devil May Cry 2, and oh my god was the pooch screwed up on that one. Remember what I said about Dante cracking jokes making fools of them demon bosses he comes across? Well, that has been flushed down the toilet since they decided to make him an edgelord who rarely speaks a word. Instead, he flips a coin like his Two-Face or something. When he speaks, his dialogue is mostly paper thin, no charisma attached to it. Except one line. We got Lucia, who has some potential to be a great addition to Devil May Cry, but she's wasted. Her backstory has the same idea as Trish in the last game. I know, that was poorly developed in one. When she finds out she was created by the main big bad that turned out to be a defect, thinking herself to be a part of the Virimorli clan. giving Lucia an identity crisis. Problem is that identity crisis isn't given the much needed attention it should have had. It's kind of a shame really, Lucia could have been up there with Lady when it came to FemDMC characters. Then there's Arius, the CEO villain that is just too damn forgettable. I got no clue why he wants to summon Argosax, or why he's using demonic power. When it came to Mundus, he wanted revenge over the Sparta bloodline, and to reclaim his rule over the human world. Not to mention his eerie presence that's felt throughout DMC1. But Arius, what the fuck are you doing here, bruv? When it comes to Argosax or Despair Embodied, I don't feel a lingering presence. No fear felt by the Despair whatsoever. Let's not forget Baldric, this game's Nilo Angelo. He's supposed to be out for revenge from Sparta. But here's the thing, the game doesn't tell you any of that. I had to find that out by looking at an art book. Devil May Cry 2 could have had a good plot, but the title's rushed nature makes the whole thing fall apart. Fifth thing this game got brutally wrong is the lacking weapon variety. Sure, DMC1 might have been lacking in that aspect in its own right, but at the very least we got some variation when it came down to the melee weapons. Lightning Sword and Flame Fists, allowing you to kill off demons in various ways. Not in DMC2, all what you get are 2 more swords, yep, other claymores that have the same exact moves as Rebellion, without any unique moves or properties of their own. The differences are marginal at best. You got Merciless speeding up your attacks slightly, along with Vendetta buffing your attacks just a tiny bit. That's all what you get in DMC2 with no way to buy any new moves, attack buffs only. For the sake of comparisons, I can only comment on the designs. Rebellion looks like an overgrown toothpick, but it does look way better later on in the series. Merciless reminds me of a barbecue stick. Vendetta's the coolest looking sword of the entire game. So yeah, firearm variety in DMC2 is solid. Same can't be said for the Devil Arms. So yeah, Devil May Cry 2, it ain't as bad as people make it out to be gameplay wise. There's some fun to be had playing this game. It's not as good as the first one or the other Devil May Cry titles, but it laid down the foundations that made the following titles better. With that out of the way, we come to the end of this video. What were your guys' thoughts on it? And what did Devil May Cry 2 get right and wrong? Let me know in the comments down below. I really like to thank everybody for getting me to 2,512 subscribers. I am truly thankful. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and smash that subscribe button real impact style, and shoot the bell icon with an ebony and ivory bullet to get notified on whenever I drop a brand new Devil May Cry or other action game video. This has been the Devil Joe signing out. Happy 22nd Devil May Cry 2 anniversary.
Whoa!